Playground! Hooray!
Yo, what's good, folks? Welcome back to the show. It's your man D here for another installment of the Deron Harris Podcast. Thank you for joining me here once again. This is episode number 37. If you guys are keeping count, I know that I sure am. Today, I'm going to be talking about a subject that, I think it needs to be discussed because it's everywhere. And what it is that in this country, there are still some Confederate monuments that still stand. And I want to know why, what it means, and will they ever come down? So stay tuned to the podcast to find out about it. So, but first, I want to do a quick mental health check like I do every week. How was your mental health this week, folks? I hope it was good. Mine was a bit questionable. I had therapy on Tuesday of this week, and this week we talked about mortality, and not necessarily my mortality, but the mortality of my parents. And I guess I wasn't really ready to accept that. You know, I mean, I always, especially my mother, you know, I mean, I feel just like I'm a little boy every time I see her. Just I feel like her little man. So, and I know that's kind of far-fetched, but, you know, I mean, it's just what I remember from my mother and the way that she's always been with me. So I was talking to my therapist about, feeling some sort of anxiety because my parents are both getting older, and, you know, it's the holidays, and, you know, my mom's 75. My dad's older than that. So, you know, I started thinking about how many more holidays do I get, you know, and it started to make me kind of emotional. And, you know, I sat and spoke with my therapist about that, and also discussed with her my children. I got 2 sons, and now I have 2 other children. I have a stepson and a stepdaughter. And it just makes me think about how long will I be there for them, or be here for them. You know, I'm 52, and, you know, time don't slow down for nobody. So I started thinking about that, and of course I got a little emotional, and so it kind of, let me just rephrase that. I was okay. My mental health was okay, but it was just something that I had been thinking about, something that had been on my mind for a while that kind of brought me down. But at the same time, you know, I came to the realization that it happens to all of us, that we're all going to, you know, meet that fate one day. And, you know, it's the time that we have now. The holidays are here. And I know that some of us don't have people to spend it with. And I know that it's hard for a lot of people not to have anybody to spend their holidays with. I don't know, I don't want to say sad, but I do have compassion for that. I don't want to call anybody sad or pathetic or anything like that, because you don't know anybody's situation, but I feel for these people. I feel for those people. I've spent many holidays and birthdays alone by myself. Well, not necessarily by myself. Well, sometimes by myself completely, but mostly I was working. When I was in the service industry, I was either behind a bar, I was managing someplace, and it always took me away from my friends and my family. Well, my family and my friends, let's put it like that. It always took me away from that. And I resented what I did for a long time. I resented it. And I began to resent myself for not, you know, speaking up and trying to get the time that I needed to feel happy for myself. Because the one thing I learned about the business that I was in is they really, really, really don't care about your happiness. They don't care about the time that you would like to take for your family, just as long as, you know, there's somebody here to serve the food and help bust the tables and make the drinks and so on and so forth. They don't care about your family. They pretend like they do, but they really don't. So I had to take those matters into my hands and make some time for my family. And and to be available for the holidays like this. And I will say this: my son Michael is 14 years old, and this will be the first Christmas that I've ever spent with him. Now, I don't want to get into all that. That's a different story. That's on down the line. Maybe if I feel comfortable enough later on, I'll divulge, what's going on. But I told my sons, both of my kids, that I would not say anything negative, about the situation. And I'm going to keep my word. So, maybe one day if I have one of them on the show, maybe we'll talk about it. But until then, I'm going to keep the, mum's the word. But, it has something to do with, all of us growing up, just them growing up. So, but I was able to kind of come out on the other side and, feel better about, about the situation or about the mortality of my parents. I mean, it doesn't really feel good to begin with, but it was put to rest. A lot of anxiety and fear was kind of put to rest. And I'm thankful for that. So that is my mental health check for the week. I want to give a quick, fast shout out to the R&B artist. Now, a lot of you probably won't know who he is. Some of you probably will. And if you're new or young, you definitely probably won't. But I want to give a shout out to Al B. Sure. He was the singer who sang Night and Day and Off on Your Own Girl back in the 80s. He was really, really good. He won a Grammy with Quincy Jones for his Secret Garden song. And I want to shout him out because he just recently came out of a 2-month coma. Homie was in a coma for 2 months. And I just want to wish you back. I want to welcome you back and wish you good health and prosperity, brother. I hope that you get better. I hope whatever condition it is. I didn't really do a whole lot of research. It just kind of came across and I saw that. And I was a big fan back in the day. And I just wanted to shout you out, man, and say, there's somebody out here, I won't say probably. I know there's many people out here that wish you your health will return. And I hope with God's speed, everything will be back to normal and, you can get back to producing or chilling or whatever it is you do now, man. But I just wanted to give you a shout out and let you know that, I was thinking about you and all, I know that a bunch of other people are thinking about you as well, brother. So rest up, get better. And again, shout out to my man, Albie Shore. So today's Dope Shit Award, I'm going to go ahead and get to that too. The Dope Shit Award, I think is pretty dope. I mean, a lot of people might not give a fuck either way, one way or the other, but I think it's pretty dope. And what it was is in the Supreme Court, there are busts or statue, like little statues of just the head and the shoulders and the chest and shit like that, or the bust that stand in the Supreme Court building. And on December 15th, I think it was, they removed the bust of Robert Taney. And I know some of you probably like, who's Robert Taney? And some of you are like, really? Yeah, Robert Taney, they took it down. And if you're unfamiliar, Robert Taney wrote the Dred Scott decision, which said that African Americans were not citizens, said that we weren't citizens, and upheld the morals and the construct of slavery. And that's what it was. And he was the author of that. And on the 5th of December, 2022, they made the decision to remove his bust out of the Supreme Court building. So I want to just say that that's the dopest shit that I've heard in a long time. I think that's dope. A lot of the stories are the dopest shit that I've heard in a long time. But I just want to, that just goes to show you that even in a world where all this crazy bullshit is going on, there's still some good things that happen. There's still some progress being made, some headway being made. And also, I want to say that this Dope Shit Award is in conjunction with what we'll be talking about today on the podcast. So I'm going to keep moving right along. I was listening this week to my EarBuds, and they were bumping the shit out of some Craig Mack. And the reason why is because I'm going to start putting some mixes together, and I was going through some of my old music. My friend Jay, he found an old hard drive of his where he had backed up a lot of my music and incorporated some of his music as well. But I was looking through the music, man. I was like, wow, I got a lot of good music on here, and I was particularly like pleased that I found Craig Mack's album Project Funk the World. Now, it came out in 1994, and I just want to say that in 1994, in my opinion, that was one of the greatest eras in hip-hop history, was 1994. That's when, Biggie was out, and everybody was doing their thing. Everybody, Bad Boy was doing their thing. Hip-hop was doing its thing. And even on the West Coast, they was banging out there. There's a lot going on out there. I hate to say it, there was a lot of beef that was going on, and it makes me sad, in hindsight, but that era did produce a lot of good music. And one of those artists that I really kind of gravitated to just because of his style, the beats, was Craig Mack. And he put out, if you're unfamiliar, he put out the song called Brand New Flavor in Year. He had a bunch of features on it. Biggie was on it. There was a lot of people that was on the feature even with him. And that whole album was good. I listened to that. I mean, I played the shit out of the whole album, but my favorite song off of that entire album was a cut called Get Down. And that cut right there, just the sample, I really want to, and I don't want to, but see, I don't want to do it I don't want to do it dirty. So I wanted to sample it. I wanted to sample Get Down because it was just a great song. If you haven't heard it, listen to it. Listen to Get Down, and also listen to the Get Down remix. It's good too. But the original album cut of Get Down, that beat on there is so serious, man. It's serious. And like there was other Flavor in Your Ear. I can't front. That's a hot beat too. But Get Down, that was another beat of mine that really kind of gave me, that beat right there, and Victory from Biggie. Those are two of my old school like hardcore, let's get to it, make something happen, straight up motivation, like I'm Rocky Balboa out there. But really not Rocky Balboa, like Clubber Lane out there. You know what I mean? Just out there on the hustle, man. Just getting me super hyped. That was one of those songs. So if you guys get an opportunity to look it up, it's on YouTube. You could check it out. Most of the stuff I tell you guys about, you could get on YouTube. There'll be a few things that you can't get, but most of the stuff you could just straight up look up on YouTube. So if you're interested, and I think that you should be, because it is a really, really good album. It is Craig Mack, Project Funk the World. It came out in 1994, and the cut that you should definitely be gravitating to is a cut called Get Down. So that right there is going to do it for the earbuds of the week. I'm going to keep it popping, and I'm going to move right on to the strain of the week. And it's a strain, but if you know me, you know that I am into flower. I'm a flower head. I do flower. I don't, talk too much about anything else, any other products, but I'm a flower head. But this week, I was really kind of intrigued, because with it being Christmas time, there's a lot of dispensaries that have a lot of sales, a lot of good sales. And I picked up on a sale at one of the local dispensaries, and it was get an eighth of flour and get a vape cart for free. And first I was like, but then I was like, you know what, why not? My girl, she sometimes enjoys, the vape cart. And I know from time to time, if I'm in a situation where I can't really necessarily roll a blunt or pack a bowl, I could just reach in my pocket and grab the little vape cart, So, I was like, all right, let me get it. So at first I was a little skeptical because, I was just, all right, it's just vaporizer, vape. It don't have the funky, stanky dank, but it does have a pretty decent taste. But the strain I want to tell you about, let me just go ahead and get to it, was fresh watermelon. And I got it from True Leaf, and yeah, it was pretty dope, man. It was really, really good. I think it was like 83 or 84% or something like that. And I know that vaporizer carts are different in the way they read their THC than the flower. So where I would say the flower is 26% or something like that, that would be pretty decent. The 83% is THC for the vape cart, which, hey, man, yup, yeah. All of a sudden, I think I might be making it round back to when I used to like carts when they first came out. I was like, oh yeah, vaporizer carts, that's dope. I'm gonna take one of those, And after a while, I just realized that I was a flower head. I enjoyed flower. I enjoyed the ritual of rolling the blunt and smoking a blunt with my friends or my family or whoever it is. I just enjoyed that ritual of sitting there and politicking, and getting down to the deepest reaches of your thoughts with, friends and family. And the vape has kind of, in my opinion, has taken some of that away because it is so convenient. You could just be like, and that's it. You don't really, there's no prep time. There's no let's sit down and, smell our fingers, check out how sticky the bud is. And, for me, I'm a purist. So to me, that matters. So to really kind of be on the vaporizer cart again all of a sudden is kind of refreshing because, I guess I should take a break from time to time and check out some of the things. Like, I really don't get down on edibles because they really don't do a whole lot for me, or I got to eat a whole lot of them. And apparently I'm missing some sort of enzyme that I don't know. That's what I was told. So I don't really, get down on the edibles, but I will do some dabs, and I will now, I will do like the jewel pods also. The jewel pods I like a lot, but again, they're one of those convenient things that's not really, it's not really a ritual. You just pass it and go, pass it and go, pass it and go. It's good for convenience, it's good, for speed. But if you sitting down, chilling in your house, and you want to hang out, and you got some company over, I would rather sit down, and break it out and match bud for bud with some friends, So, yeah, match bud for bud with some buds. So that's today I am a fan of the carts. So I will be probably picking them up more and more across, and really not for nothing. What really kind of made me say yeah to picking this cart up this time is because we found an old cart that we actually had lost. And we found it, and it was still full, and it was packing a little bit of punch. I gotta admit, it was on some punchy. So I was like, all right, that's cool. Let's see what's popping, at the dispensary with this buy eighth and get a vape cart free. So it turned out to be pretty dope. I'm not upset. Again, the strain is fresh watermelon, and it's not flower that I had this week. It was a vape cart. So if you're close to a True Leaf, ask about it, or any of your dispensaries that you go to get your stuff, ask about it. You know what I mean? Try to find out where it is, because I do highly recommend it. For it to be a vape cart, yeah, I highly recommend it. So that's going to do it for the strain of the week this week, and I'm going to take a quick, fast break, and when I come back, we're going to get into what is popping this week. This is the Deron Harris Podcast. Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the program. Check this out. On December 15th this year, a few days ago, Congress voted to remove the marble statue or the bust of Chief Justice Roger Taney. Chief Justice Roger Taney. Roger Taney was the Supreme Court justice who wrote the Dred Scott decision, if you know anything about it. Well, check it out. The Dred Scott decision was drafted by him. He wrote it in 1857. He actually served as Chief Justice from 1836 to 1864. Wow. The Dred Scott decision basically upheld slavery and basically reaffirmed that black people were not citizens. Crazy, right? So they just took his monument down, which I think that's pretty awesome, and I see that as some sort of as progress. Well, we would see that as some sort of progress. But check this out. Currently, as of now, there are 73 monuments that have been removed or remain. But all across the country, all the way up north, all the way down south, there are many of these monuments that are still standing. They're still here. There are currently 723 monuments that still stand. 723 of them that still stand. Now check this out. That's not including the 741 roadways, right? The 201 schools, okay? The 57 buildings. We can't forget our currency, and even some flags still have or pay homage to Confederate ideologies of slavery and everything else. It's baffling to me how many of these things are in plain sight. The state of Florida, on their flag, they have the Confederate battle cross. Has been an adaptation added to their flag. The flag of Florida. I live in Florida. That's crazy shit. I mean, that the flag in the state that I live in still has, a callback to those times. That's so crazy to me. Many of us, there are so many Americans of all races that consider those monuments to be a symbol of hatred, a symbol of oppression, a symbol of savage brutality, and a symbol of white supremacy. That's what they stand for. At the very at the very core of it all, that's what it stands for. It's hurtful to a lot of people. It's right in people's neighborhoods, right in their faces. There's been laws passed to keep them from being moved. Some of them, anyway. There's even a few of them, I think 7 of them, that are guarded 24 hours a day. Yeah. Wild business, right? And they're still standing. Proud. Now, like I said, there have been some people who have been successful at having these things removed from their communities. And some people and some municipalities have been, more than willing to have these things, removed from their community. And I think that's absolutely great. Now, do I think that we should forget? No, I don't. I don't think that we should forget about what happened, but we should put a name with a face. We really should. If these atrocities were committed, these many people died. Well, why did they die, and who was the cause of them dying? Who gave the order for all these slaves to die? Oh, General Robert E. Lee or whoever it was. You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't sit right with me. It really doesn't sit right with me. And they're in plain sight. It really is. But you know what's funny, though? This is really funny to me, that there are actually people and other people out there that consider these people to be noble and upstanding pillars of society, choosing to uphold in place those godly ideologies and wholesome values. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to me how they could just sit where they were, as comfortable and as carefree, while right across the way there were people being beat to death and killed for no reason. And, just there were so many bad things that happened. I just watched a movie on Apple TV. If you have Apple TV, I highly recommend that you check it out. It is Emancipation, and it stars Will Smith. Now, I know Will's got some bad press as of lately, but I'll tell you what, man, this brother right here, this shit right here, is an Oscar-worthy performance. I mean, straight up, an Oscar-worthy performance. Watching this movie now, I've seen a lot of movies on this subject, and I'll tell you what, watching this movie, to me, feels like the most accurate depiction of how slavery actually was and how the people were actually treated. You know, more than Django. I mean, that was a great movie, but it was more than that. You know, it was, you know, even more so than Roots. You know, they made a TV series about that. But this movie cut through all of that, cut through all of the niceties. You know, cut through all of the sugarcoating, cut through all of the fluff, cut through the fucking bullshit. Dead ass. It cut right through it. And I'll be honest, it upset me. It upset me to tears. It upset me to tears. Because I thought about something. I saw a documentary on Netflix called Who We Are, or Who Are We? I think it's Who We Are. And it is basically a 2-hour documentary that basically explains a lot of our history, a lot of our history in this country of race in this country. And there was a segment in the documentary where somebody actually said that in this part of the country, that the soil, well, the blood of something to the effect of the blood of all these African Americans saturate the ground here. Like literally, we have more blood that has been shed on this ground. More, I mean, think about that. More actual blood that has been shed on this ground. Seeped into the earth. Just our blood, just our bloodshed to uphold something so somebody could live more comfortably. You know, cotton was a very big deal in the South. That's no secret. You know, but motherfuckers had to pick a whole bunch of it in order for somebody to get a big fat house off of it, don't you think? Yeah, whole shit ton of it. But people here want to, that's, get over it. And that happened so long ago, yeah. And it did happen a long time ago. But, like I said, these monuments are still here in plain sight. But you know what's also funny? There are actually some government officials that don't want our children to learn about the atrocities these people actually committed. They deliberately try to erase or hide the truth about our country's history and the people responsible. They want us to see the monuments, but they don't want to know how they got them. They don't want us to know how they got them, how they won this battle for slavery. And now they have a placard because they fought some sort of noble battle. Fuck that. And anybody who says that that's good shit. I know that, like I said, there's counties. There's all kind of shit down here. Then in the courthouse down in Fort Myers, they got a big fat picture of General Lee in there. Really? Okay. If that's how y'all doing it, it's bullshit, but okay. It ain't me. You know, we have been told that 1,000,000 times. Just get over it. Get over it. Just get over slavery. Okay, we'll get over slavery when the South gets over the fact that they lost the war. How about that? Fair trade? Fair enough? Fair to you guys? Because I'll tell you what. I'm down for some fairness. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for some fairness. I'll forget it as soon as you motherfuckers do. I'll stop talking about it as soon as y'all do. I mean, it's so many so many things since then that has happened that has really put a lot of things into perspective for me in our country, especially like when I was younger and trying to get things or go places with my friends and why I couldn't go certain places. And we all come to those realizations as we get older. But the shitty thing is we're still having to come up with those realizations because that ideology still persists in our society. It does. I mean, it's just here. It's just part of our DNA now. It's been embedded in us. We're always taught to be subservient. And if any one of us got out of line, they were killed. And that to me sounds a lot like what's going on today. Do as you're told. If you don't, we're going to put our fucking knee on your neck. Dig it? And that's exactly what it is. And it's still here. They still got us locked up in cages. It's still happening. It's just we got cell phones now. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Like I said, there's all these reminders, right? There's all these monuments and festivals and placards and all kinds of shit. But I'll tell you what. When Germany lost the war, they took all that shit down. They took all that shit down. No swastikas. No, none of that shit. They didn't name shit after motherfuckers. There is no Adolf Hitler University. There's just not that. There is no Adolf Street or no Hitler Boulevard or no Gestapo Avenue. No, none of that shit exists. Because when Hitler lost, Germany won. And that's the fucking truth. That's the fucking truth. And now look at them. They got shit popping in Germany. Germany is popping. It really is. But you motherfuckers wouldn't know that because we're over here wound up and still fucked up about race. And who's going to be the fucking next president? I hate that shit, man. I really fucking hate it, man. I hate it. Because we globally, we look like idiots because we are literally a country divided. We're a country divided. And it's getting deeper. The divide is getting deeper. And it ain't going nowhere. And there's very little progress being made because nobody's really willing to sit down and have really hard conversations. There are some people that are. I was listening to a podcast and I was listening to a group of white people confront other white people about racism and slavery and the atrocities that the black race has suffered at the hands of the white race. And I thought that was fucking awesome because it showed me that they were not afraid to talk about something that was so serious that they knew was wrong to do. And they confronted it full force. And white folks, give yourselves a round of applause for that shit, for real. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. You know what I mean? Because lately, I'll tell you what, I mean, and especially in the press, white people are getting a lot of bad press lately, too, for a lot of this bullshit, Karenism and all kind of shit. But white people have just been getting a lot of bad press. But you know what, though? I'll tell you what. I have some ideas that I think might get white folks back on the track if you would care to hear them. Now, check it out. Now, I'm not a white person, but I have had extensive dealings with white people. And I'll tell you what, I have these ideas. Now, here they are. Okay, number one. Okay, these are the things that I think will help get white people back in the good graces of everybody else. Number one, start liking black people. And I think, number 2, mind your business. Yeah, and I think that does it. I think that's about it. Number 1, start liking black folks. And number 2, mind your fucking business. And you'd be surprised at how well shit starts to get along. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy how that just works out like that. You know what I'm saying? And as far as all these monuments go, man, I'm looking for somebody to say, hey, look, they all got to go, period. You can fight all you want to, but these motherfuckers got to go. They lost the war. That's it. You know what I mean? Because if it was me, listen, let me share something with you. I live in a town in North Florida, and the town, well, currently right now, my wife and I live in our RV, and we live in a town in North Florida called Lake City, Florida. Now, it's no big whoop, no, huge deal or anything. Lake City is a first major exit on I-75 when you come into Florida. It's a bunch of fast food chains, et cetera, et cetera. It's all over the place. And that's really what it's here for. But that's not the only thing that it's known for. It actually has, a really a crazy piece of history here. Here in Lake City, Florida, in the Civil War, there was the Battle of Olustee. Yep, the Battle of Olustee. Now, the Battle of Olustee, if you're not familiar with it, the Battle of Olustee was a battle in which the Confederates or the rebels won the battle. They won the battle against the Union Army. They won the battle. It's a big deal here. I mean, there's a market and all kind of shit. There's like singing and everybody's got like fucking turkey legs and all kind of shit. They spare no expense. This town's, they pull out all the stops to preserve the effort, to preserve the ideology of slavery. Crazy, right? That's fucking crazy. They have a festival every year over a battle in which they won that was over slavery. And they do that shit every year. And I'll tell you what, the mentality of the people that live here, it fucking shows. It really does. It really does. It's crazy. Now, there's a few liberal people here, but not very many at all whatsoever. They can't stand that shit around here. You know what I'm saying? You say anything about anything, Barack Obama, it was the Antichrist, all kind of dumb shit. And they don't have anything really to stand on. A lot of these motherfuckers are ignorant as fuck, man. I'm not saying everybody is, but a lot of them are. And I'll stand up in that shit every day. I graduated high school here, and it really hasn't changed very much since 1988 when I graduated. And I'll stand up and say that. You know what I'm saying? My mom lives here, and that's the only reason I come here. You know what I'm saying? And I do have a lot of family here, but really, I could call my family. I have to go see my mom. So that's the only reason I really come here, really, is to see my mother. But as far as this town is concerned, you could keep this motherfucker and all of the racism that it comes with. I'm over it. And I've always, even when I was younger in town, I've always, and a few of my friends, of both races have always been advocates of anti-racism. We always have tried to meet racism head on and crush it. We're not, I've never been afraid. I'm not afraid. I will continue to talk about it. I will continue to I'll discuss it with anybody, because at the end of the day, the shit was wrong, and I don't give a fuck what kind of heritage, heritage. The heritage of hate, hurt, and slavery. Okay, you want to preserve that heritage? Fuck you. How about that? And that goes for anybody that knows me, really. Oh man, the Old Lusty Festival's coming. Man, I don't give a fuck about the Old Lusty Festival. How about that? Because I'll tell you what happened. First, what they do is both sides, they get out there and they line up and everybody's dressed appropriately. And the very first thing they do is they march out all the black people, all the black soldiers, and they shoot them down. Yeah, they shoot them down. The Union Army really didn't give a fuck about us either. You know what I'm saying? They just sent them out first because there were extra bodies, extra men that could fight. And I'm thankful for those brothers that went out there and laid their lives down, because I'm going to tell you what, if they didn't, there's no doubt in my mind that we'd still be back there if the South had won. If the South had won, there's no doubt in my mind that we would still be oppressed in this country. I mean, look. We ain't really made a whole lot of progress. Some of us, yeah, but I mean, look at us as a whole. You know, progress is slow to come, man. But we're still trying. There's people out here making a difference. There's people out here trying to get it across to people that, you know, that this shit is wrong. That the people that they're idolizing or immortalizing with these statues and placards, these were the agents of hate, and people don't really like that shit no more. I mean, especially in this day and age, there's so many people who just really don't like that shit. But there are some people that go around and they collect these things for museums and things like that. And okay, fine. If you want to put it in a museum, you know, and if you want to keep it, now I feel like this too. If you want to keep the statue up, now you could keep it up. Now you could keep the statue up. If you want to keep the shit up, you could keep it up. But write in extreme detail what this motherfucker actually did. You know, this guy, you know, built a school and he built 2 hospitals and enslaved 600 people and saw to it that 45 other ones were put to death for looking at his wife, etc., etc. Dumb bullshit, man. But they're still immortalizing this motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? Oh, well, not all slave owners were they treated some of them like family. No, they fucking didn't. They didn't treat any of them like family. Family sleeps in the fucking house. Family goes to the fucking picnics. They don't beat welts in the back of families' backs, and they don't do that. They didn't do that shit to fucking family. Family. They treated them like family. Fuck that shit. These motherfuckers everywhere across the country need to be erased. And that's my feeling on it. Now, like I said, you know, if you want to take some of these things and put them in a museum and tell the story about who this motherfucker was, be my guest, because that's a part of our history. But be fair and be truthful and be for real, man. Be for real about these people. They're not fucking heroes. They're not heroes. They are not heroes. Not a single one of them. You know, and God rest the dead. You know, and like that movie said, may God have mercy on their pitiful souls. But I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. I will tell you what. I'll tell you what. It's okay. I'll say it's okay to you know, here lies these men. They're the Confederate soldiers that fought in the Civil War, But put down for real what it is. These are the Confederate soldiers that fought in the Civil War to preserve slavery in the southern states, to uphold and uplift slavery, to keep black people oppressed. Write it down for real. Write it down for real. Let people really know who these people were and let people make their own decisions. And it's so crazy. People are just steadily teaching their children. And you see it out here in rural areas of the country. Like, you know, I live in Lake City. This is the country. But you can see every day. I mean, there's trucks that ride by with rebel flags. There's people out here, you know mean mugging me, you know, just for standing in Walmart. All kinds of shit, man. Just what the fuck is that? You know, motherfuckers looking at me like if they could kill me, they would. And that shit don't make me feel good about living here, being here, none of that. It don't make me feel good about none of that shit. So it's actually quite scary at times, you know, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, you got people rolling in the grocery stores, killing a whole bunch of them. They still rolling up in the churches and, you know, people, you know, doing stuff like this willingly. You know, there's all kinds of militias and stuff that are starting to form for some sort of, you know, domestic, it's some sort of war that's some sort of domestic war, some sort of second civil war. I don't know what, but it's very scary to me. It really is. It's very scary to me, the times that we live in, because people want to preserve the ideology that we are inferior, we're less than, or they're superior or greater than. It's hurtful, but I don't think anybody really cares. I don't think anybody has really stopped to really care. I don't think that's happened yet. I really don't think that's happened yet. You know, we need people to start caring about these things. We need people to start having these conversations. We need people to start being, open to discussions. We need people to be curious. We need people to be exploratory. We need people for that. We need people to say, hey, listen, I want to know as much about you as I can. So that I can make an accurate. Now, if you're an asshole, then you're a fucking asshole. But be an asshole because you're an asshole. Don't make me an asshole because I'm a black dude. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me an asshole, because I'm a white dude on the other side. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for it. And they're right. We were not there. We weren't a part of slavery or anything. As much as I, sit here and, I saw that movie with Will Smith in it, and shout out to Will for making the movie, man. It was dope. I wasn't there. And neither was he. So it's hard to really know for sure how it really was. But we all know one thing. We all know one thing. One thing. We all know that it was bad. If we don't know anything else, that's it. The least that we know is that it was horrible. And that's to put it mildly. To put it mildly. There were so many practices that were put into place during these times, and there were just people that didn't care. They did it to children, women, families. They split them apart and just had no regard for them. Didn't give a fuck about them. Called us its and all kind of shit, man. It's crazy. I don't know, man. I keep saying I don't know because I really don't know what to do, or I don't know what to do. I wish there was something more that I could do to go and advocate for the removal of these symbols around our country. I mean, maybe this is where I start here on my podcast. Maybe some of you guys can listen to this podcast and kind of take that up. I hope that this reaches some of you that are in those positions. I mean, I live here where the Old Lusty Festival is, and I'm trying to do everything. I'd like to do everything in my power to have that thing removed, but it's a historic it's a nationally guarded place. It's a historic battlefield. Yeah. It's a historic battlefield. Our blood is out there. Our actual blood has seeped into the ground out there. Along with all the other men that died out there on that day. They all have one thing in common. They all died. They all died. So it's starting to get a little emotional for me. So I think I might call it a wrap for this week. But I want to leave you guys with this, a story, or actually it was a revelation that I had the other day, and it was kind of harsh. And the revelation was about, 4 or 5 years ago, my sister, she went and got an ancestry DNA test, and she took it and figured out that me and a couple of my siblings, that we are 16% white dude. Yeah, that's right. 16% English and Irish. Yeah. And I was like, wow. But then I started thinking about it for a minute. And that means, and I really hope that this is not the case. I really hope that it's something different. But that means somewhere along the line in my family tree that my grandfather raped a slave who was my great grandmother. Yeah. And I want to hope that it was a different circumstance or something, like they were in love. But I really don't think that's the case. I really think that that's the same case for many of us here in the country, and I know that to be true because that's why there are so many different shades of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's something harsh that we have to look at, that I know for me that I had to look at. And I had to look at it in order to not be angry about it anymore, in order to not, be hurt by it. Am I sad? Yes, but I don't want to be hurt by it anymore. I don't want to be hurt by it anymore. And I really don't want to be sad about it, but it's sad because it was so many bloodlines and, lineages of people and that were cut short because of that. And God rest their souls. You're listening to the Deron Harris Podcast. I'll be back.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll super mega for your backside. Shake your booty, do the Charmin slide. Super mega make you feel alright. Everybody do the Charmin slide. Long-lasting TP gets everybody going. These booties clean and totally glowing. Shake your booty, do the Charmin slide. Change your roll less and go with pride.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is longer lasting, so you can change the roll less often. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the podcast. Yeah, so that was interesting what I was talking about, and I just hope that we can get by it. I hope that everybody can be mature enough and respectful enough and open enough to have these tough conversations so that we can, work through this pain and we can heal ourselves, heal our country, and and eventually get to live in our best life as a country, because we're not. So, but my wife and I, we are going to be living our best life this holiday season because we are traveling. Tomorrow, we're going to gas up and we're going to go see some family for Christmas down in Central Florida in Orlando. We're going to go see my sister, my dad, my son, my sister-in-law, and my niece and nephew. And we're going to have a wonderful time. I'm going to go ahead and call it out just like I see it. I think it's going to be awesome. I think that my wife is going to be cooking something, which is great because I do most of the cooking. But she does cook. She cooks a lot of salad. So, but she does cook from time to time. But she will be making her world famous, I think it's pasta salad. So, and I think that I'm going to try and bake something as well. I might bake a pie or a cake or something to try and contribute to Christmas dinner. But we are excited. We are excited because we are once again packing up everything. But I'll tell you what, it's cold up here for it being Florida. In North Florida today, I think the high is like 56, and I think the low is getting ready to be around 17 one of these nights, which is that's pretty much New York weather. So we are going to load up and we're going to go down south for a little bit and try to escape some of the cold weather. And I will tell you, one thing about living in an RV when it's cold is that motherfucker is cold in there. So, but we do have one hell of a heating system. But the downfall is it does run on propane. And we kind of burn through it a little bit, but we don't leave it on all the time. But you will, if you leave it on all the time, you turn around, you will have burned through some propane, and I will tell you that. So we're looking at remedies to kind of help us supplement some of the propane. We might get another propane tank, like a larger one. I've seen some larger ones at the campground, and I've done a little bit of research. So we may get a larger propane bladder in order to store extra propane, so that we can leave and have more propane in it. We can run the things longer that we need to. But hey, It's time to bundle the fuck up because I'm so cold. My wife done gave me her Snuggie. I'm sitting here in a Snuggie doing this podcast. But I do enjoy it because, man, for the first time in my life, I think the first time in his life, that I'm actually going to be able to spend a Christmas season with my son, Michael. He's 14 years old. We've never spent a Christmas together. We've never had one of his birthdays together either. And I won't get into that, but this year is going to be immensely different because we're going to go out and we're going to have some fun as a family for the first time. And I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait for it to happen. I think it's going to be awesome. My wife is extremely excited. My parents are excited. My sister is excited. He's excited. Everybody's excited. So I'm hoping that the excitement carries over. And everything goes well. I don't think it will go wrong, but we got to get some heat because if he's going to spend the night, it's got to be a little bit warmer than it is. So probably go out and buy us a supplemental heater to kind of go with the propane so we don't burn through as much propane, because electricity, on the other hand, is not as expensive as propane and will power as well. So so tomorrow we're getting ready. We're gonna get ready to haul ass out of here for the Christmas holidays, folks. And Merry Christmas to you and Happy Holidays to you and your family. I hope that everybody listening or within earshot of my voice has a wonderful holiday with their friends and family. A wonderful, wonderful, and a magnanimous New Year, y'all. Get it out there and bang it out. And hopefully y'all have a wonderful time with all your friends of every walk of life. That everybody can go out and actually be for real about, peace on earth and love for all mankind, So I think I'm going to stop the podcast right here. And I want to thank my wife and my mother for being the absolute two best women that have ever blessed my life. I want to thank my best friend for encouraging me, along with my mom and my sister for encouraging me also to do this podcast, because without them, I don't think I ever would have done episode number 1, and here I am on episode number 37. I want to thank my producer, Gentry Thomas, for giving me the format, and G, man, you are the man, bro. I will say that, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm trying to do a good job by you, man. So let me know what I can do better, and I'll jump right on the stick. So. And of course, I want to thank everybody who is listening, everybody who has listened and has stopped listening, everybody who is currently listening, everybody who has not yet listened. And I really want to thank the people who listen the whole way through. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. And I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I will see you guys next year. Don't get too fucked up on New Year's Eve now. And love and embrace your family on Christmas. They love you, girl. So, see you guys next year. Peace.